Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sir, thank you for coming to testify today. I apologize, I was at another hearing down the hallway, but I was glad to have a chance to have a little dialogue with you before the hearing completed this morning. During the budget debate related to sequestration, the FAA proposed closing 149 contract towers, including several in Kansas, the Midwest Air Traffic Control Center in Overland Park, Johnson County Executive Airport, and several other airports in Kansas with contract towers specifically. Our nation's air transportation system, as you know, is a comprehensive network of intertwined facilities with air traffic control towers serving in the important role of helping pilots and their crews safely guide their aircraft between airports. Contract air traffic control towers exist specifically to direct aircraft and ensure the safety of our skies. What's the status of the contract towers program particularly, and how do we ensure that the importance of these towers are not dismissed and that reforms made to the funding levels of these towers are made in a fair, transparent, and safe manner?
Sure. Let me talk first about what's in the 2016 budget. The 2016 budget request includes a total of $154.4 million for the federal contract tower program. That's about a $9.9 million increase over what was provided last year in fiscal year 2015, and that's to accommodate inflationary adjustments and the potential inclusion of one additional site being added in this year. There are currently about 252 towers in the federal contract tower program, and that is something that we do recognize is a significant part of, as you correctly pointed out, an interconnected system to ensure that we can operate and maintain a safe system. Longer term, as directed by federal statutes, the FAA is required to use a cost-benefit analysis to determine entry into the federal contract tower program and to assess the continued cost-effectiveness of towers that are included in that program. The analysis quantifies the safety and efficiency benefits that accrue from having the presence of a tower against the costs of what their operations are. If a current federal contract tower shows that their cost exceeds the benefits, then we do work with the local contract tower sponsor to provide the opportunity to fund a pro rata share of the cost, which is capped, and they must be given an 18-month period to transition over to that. And so that's what the existing framework is. It is supported by the budget overall. We have been working on updating our cost-benefit methodology with the goal of addressing exactly what you're talking about. How can we ensure that it's transparent, and how can we ensure that it's taking full account of all of the costs as well as the benefits that are there for the program?
As the FAA had to make choices, as every agency did under sequestration, this was a choice the FAA made. Were there other choices available? And what, as you do that cost-benefit analysis, how did we arrive at closing 149 contract towers during that process?
What we were looking at was at that time, what we were looking at was lower activity towers, meaning that the number of operations could be handled safely without necessarily needing to have the tower or not needing to have the same degree of tower hours. And while we were in the sequester, we were looking at a series of choices, none of which were good, as I testified before this committee at that time. But what we were really trying to focus on is how do we preserve the maximum benefit, maximum operational capability for the largest number of users of the national airspace system. I think that longer term, one of the things that we are looking at is what are technologies that we have available to us that we should also be considering as we're looking at future investment needs. There's great promise in, for example, remote tower capabilities, which is a combination of video and other surveillance technologies that provide you the same benefits of having a tower on the facility, but not necessarily on the premises of the specific facility that you're talking about. We're at very early stages in that investment case and decision, but I think that we have to consider not only regular operating costs, but what are long-term technological programs that we might look to as well.